ABC Kinderteach presents Hot Dog, written by Doug Salati. City summer, steamy sidewalks. So in the city, in the summer, it gets pretty hot because there are so many buildings, and that means there's usually not much of a breeze, and the roads are black, which means they get a lot hotter, and there's lots of roads, and it's just really a hot place. Sometimes in the city, when it's really hot out, there's also a lot of wetness in the air, and the sidewalks sometimes give off just a little bit of steam, or at least it feels like they're giving off some steam because the sidewalks are hot and there's a bit of wetness in the air. Concrete crumbles, sirens screech. So the dog is next to this tree, and the lady looks like she's going into the post office, maybe to mail something or pick up something. And concrete crumbles, it just means that the concrete's falling apart. And here's the sirens screeching. Honk! Tuka, 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 tuka. Wee! Ewowie! So hot, can't sit. So it's so hot out, the dog does not want to sit on the sidewalk because the sidewalk is so hot. Or sniff. So there's some very interesting garbage that the dog could sniff, but it's so hot that the dog just does not want to sniff anything. Or wait. So it looks like this lady is getting some glasses, and the dog has wrapped himself around the lady because he does not want to wait. Crowds close in. So she's walking, looks a bit angry, and the dog is trailing behind, which is strange for a dog because most of the time dogs want to be in front. But I think the dog is hot and there's so many people around that it just is not interested in walking, so it's walking behind. Too close, too loud, too much. So there's people on skateboards and all sorts of people around, and it's just too much for the dog. It's just getting really upset. That's it! So the dog decides to stop in the middle of the street. It is so tired of the hot and all the people around and all the things that make it kind of cranky. Won't move one bit. So it is laying on the road, and the lady is trying to pull the dog, and the dog does not want to move. Meanwhile, there's a car that's sitting there, so I hope the dog's going to be okay. Okay. So she goes back, and people are honking, honk, honk, beep, 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 honk, beep, 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 honk, beep. So everybody's honking at the dog for laying down. Redo. So the lady comes back for the dog, and it seems like she's in a better mood. She realizes the dog is not happy about all the hot sidewalks and all the people, and so it looks like she's petting the dog. Meanwhile, all of these cars are upset because the dog and the lady are blocking traffic. They can't get through, so they go honk, honk, beep, 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 honk, beep, 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 honk, honk. Taxi! So the lady decides to call a taxi instead of walking, and the dog looks maybe a little bit happier. A slow escape. So they get in the taxi and there's so much traffic and other cars that they just are just sitting there in the traffic. And so they say a slow escape, which means they try to get away from all the hubbub and all the noise and all the traffic and all the people, but they're just sitting here waiting for these other cars in front of them to move. Gaining speed. So the lady must have hopped out of the taxi and decided that she could go to the subway, which is an underground railroad. Now, underground railroads, sometimes later on their tracks, they actually go on top, not under the ground. And so she's running and saying, wait, 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 wait. Where are they going? I don't think they're going to go someplace that's hot and with a lot of people. I think it's going to be someplace else, but I don't know where. Unfolding sky. Unfolding just means you're able to see more of the sky. When you're in the city, all the buildings kind of block a lot of the sky, but when you're out in the country, the sky can be seen all around you. A salty breeze, which means they must be getting near the ocean or some sort of big sea. And so they take the train. It looks like they are now on a boat. A welcome whiff of someplace new. So they take a boat. It looks like they might be going to an island. The dog is happier now. Why? Because look at the dog is in front of the lady. The dog is excited. What are they going to do on this island? Are they going to go swimming? Are they just going to look in stores? Are they just going to walk around? I don't know. An island, wild and long and low. Okay, when it says wild, it means there's wild animals like deer and the grass is growing up wherever it wants to. It's long, which means it's a long island, and it's slow, which means there's not a lot of hills. And so they get to the beach and she unhooks the dog. What's the dog gonna do? I bet the dog's gonna run. Run, run, run. Here a pup can run. And so the dog is running around in circles, maybe chasing these seagulls and just having a really good time. So it sees the waves coming in and then it runs away and then it kind of likes to be in the waves and gets wet and then it must get some sand or salt on it. So the dog shakes itself and rolls around and then it starts digging a hole. It finds a rock. It finds a bigger rock. What's it going to do with the rocks? It brings the rocks back to the lady. What's the lady going to do with the rocks? Then the dog gets some more rocks and then it sees this big rock. Wait a minute, that's not a rock. Ooh, that's a seal. The dog barks at it and it runs away. Now the seal does not look like it's mad. It looks like it might be interested, but it scares the dog. The dog runs away. So while the dog is bringing back all these rocks, the lady is making a little bit of a picture with the rocks that look like the dog. Then it looks like it must be getting later in the day. She picks up some of her favorite rocks and looks like they're saying goodbye to the beach. They must be going back home. Sun sinks down, which means the sun starts to set or get lower and lower in the sky, swallowed by the sea. Now, it really doesn't get swallowed by the sea. It just looks like it gets swallowed by the sea because the sun goes down, 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 and then it's gone. Moon rises. There's the moon rising. Skyline shimmers. This is the skyline. All the buildings that you can see against the sky. And when they say it shimmers, it kind of shines in a soft way. trains rumble and hum. So these people must be all going back from the beach or someplace near the beach. Looks like this guy is singing. She looks like she's just enjoying her time with the dog because the dog's giving her a lick. This lady looks like she may be working at a hospital and she looks like she's falling asleep. And there's a man with a baby. There's a couple of kids. There's a cat. There are a lot of people on this train. Familiar scents. And that's just smells that you know. So the dog says, I know this smell from home. And so that's why it's a familiar scent. A rush of wind. So she can actually feel a little bit of wind in the city. And it blows her hat off, but luckily the dog catches it. What a nice dog. Everyone cools down. When it gets a little bit cooler out, people are not so angry and hot, so they are a little bit nicer. So this boy is wanting to pet the dog, and the dog seems to be happy about that. Happy for home, hungry for supper. What a day for a dog. So they're going up the stairs. She has her umbrella with her. They sit down and they eat. It looks like they're having watermelon. The dog is actually sitting at the table. She's eating a pretzel. I think the dog normally eats on the ground because look at, there's the dog bowl of food and bowl of water, but she must be letting him sit at the table tonight. I think the dog might be eating little bits of pretzel maybe. Ready to leap into a deep ocean sleep. So the lady puts her rocks on the window ledge and they both are dreaming about their day at the beach. And it looks a lot cooler because the shades and the curtains are blowing. And it looks like the dog is dreaming about swimming with that seal or other seals that it saw.